Every night in Colorado, there are hundreds of teenagers who are sleeping on the streets or in their vehicles without their parents. Today, state lawmakers will look at creating a task force to try to solve this problem.
There are reasons why children become homeless. There's reasons why a 14-year-old or a 13-year-old would leave a home. And that is not a decision that is made lightly by a child. It's because they feel safer outside of their home than inside the home.
If created, the task force will include a wide range of people, including teens who were homeless.
It's 5:07. It's Monday, so let's give you a look ahead at the week.
And this week, protesters plan to rally at the Denver City and County building to call on Mayor Michael Hancock to resign. Last week, he apologized after a former member of his security detail came forward accusing him of sexual harassment. This was first uncovered by Denver 7 Investigates. The rally is called Time's Up, Hancock.
Also this week, Colorado lawmakers will discuss a bill that would eliminate requirements about where your front license plate goes on your car. The bill comes ahead of those self-driving cars we see these days. There's a sensor on those cars that has to go essentially where your front license plate is mounted. If it's not moved, the car perhaps wouldn't drive correctly. So this bill would allow the manufacturer to decide where to put your license plate.
And you can learn more about RTD's plan to make changes to how its buses run on Denver's 16th Street Mall. That meeting is Thursday at noon at the RTD boardroom on Blake Street.
City leaders in the Roaring Fork Valley are about to start a debate this spring about whether to allow e-bikes on some paved trails. That includes trails such as the Rio Grande, the 42-mile route from Aspen to Glenwood Springs. According to the Aspen Times, city leaders just want to get a kind of a consistent policy in place.
Well, here's another example of local law enforcement coming together to honor a fallen brother. After last night's Avs game, Denver Fire and Denver Police faced off in a little competition to raise money for Adams County Deputy Heath Gumb's family. Deputy Gumb was killed in the line of duty while responding to a call in Thornton in January. His family was honored guests at that game.
The parties are still going right now in Hollywood this morning after the 90th Annual Academy Awards. The romantic monster film, that sounds odd, doesn't it? Well, The Shape of Water won Best Picture, capping off a night that included some historic wins.
And several Hollywood veterans won their first Oscars. Jordan Peele became the first African-American to win Best Original Screenplay. Nicole Brady was here now. You stayed up for the whole show.
Every minute of it, so I'm a little tired. It was a pretty uneventful ceremony overall. Yes, there were politics, and we will certainly be talking about that throughout the morning. But really, this 90th Academy Awards was a celebration of 9 decades of movies. One of the biggest moments of the night and funniest moments was when host Jimmy Kimmel surprised a theater full of unsuspecting moviegoers across the street from the Oscars ceremony. He brought a bunch of the stars with him, and the idea here was to thank the audiences, the people who actually see the movies.
It was amazing, but as soon as I saw Jimmy up on the big screen, we were like, oh my God.
Yeah, it was certainly a memorable night for those fans. Of course, bigger night for the winners. We saw them celebrating post-Oscars at the Governor's Ball in Los Angeles. Veteran actor Gary Oldman won his first Oscar for his portrayal of Winston Churchill in The Darkest Hour. Mexican director Guillermo del Toro won his first Oscar for The Shape of Water. And Allison Janney won her first for playing Tonya Harding's mom in I, Tonya.
I cannot wait to get home and get in bed and take Oscar with me to bed.
Sounds like a fun night for her. After last year's fiasco where the wrong Best Picture was announced, actors Faye Dunaway and Warren Beatty got a do-over. So they came out and announced this year's Best Picture. They got it right. Another great running joke through the evening was Jimmy Kimmel offering a jet ski and a trip to Arizona for the shortest acceptance speech. 30 seconds went to a costume designer whose speech was 30 seconds, but it was still so long. Felt longer to me, I think, because I had to wake up.
Yeah. They got longer and longer and longer.
I like Jani's acceptance. When she first got up, she just said, I did this all by myself.
I did it all my own. Yeah.
That was fun.
So it was a fun night.
It was.
All right. Thanks, Nicole.
Well, there were a few Colorado connections at the Oscars this year.
Denver native Brian Fogel won the Oscar for the Best Documentary Feature for his movie Icarus.
And Boulder native Vanessa Taylor was also nominated for Original Screenplay for The Shape of Water, but she lost to Jordan Peele, who won for Get Out.
Pretty big to even be nominated, though.
I would say so, yeah.
Congratulations. Colorado lawmakers are voting on a bill today that would allow you to freeze your child's credit.
There's a new service the post office is using to tell you exactly what's coming to your house on any given day. And one movie theater chain is adopting a new bag ban. But is it really just for your safety? We take a 360 look at that next. 5:15 here, Denver 7 on this Monday morning. You can see your daily DIA check. Parking lots all in the green, all open. Security wait times right now, kind of long over in the south. Security about 24 minutes, 12 minutes in the north. The others about standard, about 5-6 minutes. Identity theft is a growing concern for many of us, and it even happens to our children. Today, Colorado lawmakers will debate a bill to let parents and guardians freeze the credit of a child or someone who is perhaps developmentally disabled.
When you're dealing with kids and developmentally disabled, their identity could be stolen, and it could be 10, 15, 18 years before you discover that. And how are you going to unwind that kind of damage?
A credit freeze would prevent anyone from applying for a credit card or other credit in that person's name. House Bill 1233 has passed the House now, and it's facing its first vote today in our state Senate.
If you've ever rushed home to get your mail for a check or something else, the post office has a free service that can help. The post office has been barcoding and scanning mail to sort it for years. Well, they recently added some new technology to connect your email address to the scanning process. And now they'll send you an email showing what mail is coming to your house that day.
It was a mashup of current addresses along with the technology, and then all we had to do was connect your email to that. And so it's something that we've been doing for a long time, and somebody thought, will this be a way to add value to the mail?
Now, this is called Informed Delivery. It is free. To sign up, just Google Informed Delivery and click on the post office's website.
Mine would just say, more junk mail.
Yeah, right. I
More
never
catalogs.
get anything besides
Oh
junk
my God,
mail
just
and catalogs.
piles of it every day.
I'm amazed, though, that it works as it does. You just throw your stuff in a box and it ends up somewhere a day or two later.
Yeah, it sounds like it should be like $8, and it's like, what, 40 cents, right?
Yeah, it's pretty wild. We've got a windy start to our day. Wind speeds overnight over 75 miles per hour. I'll give you a list of some of the gustier conditions coming up in a minute, but look at the emoji cast. He is not happy all afternoon. We've got wind gusts over 60. Temperatures will be at about 45. He's mad, isn't he? Thumbs down. Have we ever used that emoji? I think it's the first time. It'll be breezy tonight at about 8 o'clock, but it will get calmer overnight tonight. Here's your first alert headlines. With those gusts over 60 miles per hour, it's also going to feel a little cooler in spots. Calmer conditions expected this evening, but you've got a day of windy, bad hair day. Cool today and tomorrow. Temperatures are going to be about 5 to 7 degrees below normal. Here's a look at some of the current wind gusts. We've got Boulder at over 30 miles per hour. At the airport, close to 50. It's going to be a bumpy ride in and out. So windy. Those winds coming in out of the northwest right now. So all the moisture from this is getting trapped in the mountains. That's where we're seeing the snow this morning, and we'll likely get where we've got a winter weather advisory, another 1 to 3 inches through the day. Fire weather warning covers the entire metro area and most of southern and southeastern Colorado. Plus here in gold, that's the high wind warning, and it's in effect until 5 o'clock tonight. So you've got quite a few more hours of this. Right now you can see from this shot at City Park, the clouds there along the foothills and up into the mountains, but clear skies here in Denver. So we are going to be under a mostly sunny sky. Look at the winds. Those northwesterly winds continue to howl through mid-morning. We'll be at about 45 degrees by 2 o'clock this afternoon. Normal high today is 51, and then overnight back down into the 30s. Early tomorrow, it'll be a calmer Tuesday morning drive. You won't be as shaky on the roads early tomorrow, and it will get pretty nice. As the week goes on, we've got much warmer weather on the way. 40s today and tomorrow. A good 10 degrees warmer, though, by Wednesday. Wednesday, we're under a mostly sunny sky. So at this point, this is the only first alert action day on our 7-day forecast. We've got some pretty mild weather, very spring-like again by the end of the week. 60s, low, even some upper 60s, both Thursday and Friday, before another minor storm this weekend. Man, was this weekend gorgeous or what?
Oh,
Saturday
great.
was unreal.
Yeah, it was
pretty
fantastic. You got a little bit of a sunburn hanging out on Saturday. We have a good drive going on, but it's obviously very windy, as we've been talking about out to the west side of town. The camera here at Highway 93 and 72, as you take a look at that, is shaking around right now. And I've seen some of the wind gusts out there. The peak wind gust so far was over 50 miles an hour. Just a moment ago, it was at 42 miles an hour out there. So it is obviously going to be a problem. There could still be a little bit of snow blowing across across parts of Highway 93. The rest of the drive out there looks okay. The travel time is still about 20 minutes or so between Boulder and Golden, and no issues otherwise except for the winds there in Golden. Highway 93, same thing, or C470, same thing. Those strong winds are going to be a major problem for us, but otherwise we're not seeing any significant problems just yet on the freeway system.
Feel it in my eyes, all that dust being kicked up out there.
Oh, yeah, that is irritating.
Well, one of the nation's largest movie theater chains just made a change to the way all of us go to the movies. They are implementing a bag ban.
And Denver 7 has begun a special approach to storytelling. It's called 360, multiple angles, multiple voices, so you can make up your own mind. And this bag ban is a perfect time to go 360. Bags or packages larger than 12 by 12 by 6 will no longer be permitted into the theater. Exceptions will be made for diaper bags and bags for medical equipment.
So you cannot bring those to any of Cinemark's 533 theaters anymore, including the 9 we have here in Colorado. Why? Well, Cinemark says it's an effort to enhance the safety and security of guests and employees.
As we view the bag ban through our 360 lens, this move makes sense in these tense times, but eliminating one possible way something dangerous is smuggled in among unprotected, unsuspecting folks is a bit admirable.
I'd rather be safe than sorry. If I'm carrying my firearm, it's going to be on my hip at all times.
Florida 16 multiplex where 12 people were killed was a Cinemark theater. The killer didn't, though, sneak his gun inside a bag. He walked it through the exit door, you may remember. But still, security is security. Every bit could help us. But the Aurora Theater shooting was in 2012, so why the bag ban now?
Well, Hollywood, for lack of a more elegant phrase, bit it last summer. According to Variety, last summer was the worst in a decade at the domestic box office. And if ticket sales are down, theaters have to rely more on concession sales, and that's where your sneaked-in snacks come in.
Oh, yeah, so let's wrap up this 360. Theater chains like Cinemark have reason to be worried and plenty of reasons to make changes the way they do things, and thus the bag ban. But doing it for security, well, you know, no one would blame Cinemark if they just said no large bags at the movies so you'll stop sneaking in food. We get it. Any thoughts on this 360? Because we'd love to hear from you. You can share those thoughts with us.
And if you ever think you have an issue that deserves a 360 look, you can always send us an email at 360@denverchannel.com.
May not seem like the best day for it, but Denver police officers are plunging into some icy cold water today.
And RTD is leading the way in making changes for public transportation. It is now 5:22. We're back in just 3 minutes.
Today, the Denver Police Department's recruit class is going to get a brutally cold awakening, dunking in frigid water to get ready for the polar plunge. The Daniels Fund will also be presenting a check on behalf of the Denver Police Department. It's going to Special Olympics, Colorado.
Today marks the first day of Women of Aviation Week. It's going on in Loveland at the Northern Colorado Regional Airport. A group of pilots will be teaching young girls and women how to fly to get more women interested in a career in aviation.
Today, RTD is hosting an annual conference looking at improving transportation policy. Representatives from surrounding states like Arizona, Kansas, New Mexico, they'll be there. Everyone will be talking about different things they're trying to do to make public transit in their respective states run the smooth as it can. We're going to let you know what RTD picks up on anything out of this meeting.
It's now 5:26. I drive a little CRV. I mean, pretty low profile, and that thing was all over I-25.
Yeah, but it does have a little bit of size to it. I mean, the sides are pretty high on it. Higher than my car.
Well, that's true. Regardless, it's windy out there. Really windy start. Make sure the kids wear a jacket. My kids were wearing shorts this weekend. Back to pants on this Monday. Mid-40s this afternoon. It's still going to be pretty gusty when they're heading home.
But even when you have a car like that, or even something with a little bit more size, it's going to be blown around a little bit. You can see the snow up in the high country right now. It is a snowy mess that way with some chain and traction laws if you're going to be heading into the mountains.
Man, crazy weather we've been having here. We're in the heart of spring ski season, and that means more visitors, sometimes more headaches.
One thing Keystone is trying to figure out is the parking situation, and they're using social media to help manage it.
And get them before they're gone. How many tickets are left before the ice castles in Dillon close for good?
Right now at 5:30, the wind could cause some problems for your commute today. We've got teams across the board to bring you the very best and latest information.
And because of these high winds, the fire danger is high today as well. And authorities want to avoid another situation like this with fire sparking across the area.
At the Oscars, dozens speak out in favor of the Me Too and Time's Up movements. We're also going to show you one Twitter video that has a lot of people talking.
Denver 7 News starts right now.
We're going to begin with a live look outside this morning at 5:31. It's going to be windy. It's going to be cold out there. You're going to feel this. This is looking down 6th Avenue here in Denver. Our CDOT cameras, look, see it shaking there? That's from all the wind this morning. So be prepared for that. Good morning. Happy Monday. I'm Mitch Jolnick.
And I'm Molly Hendrickson. Glad to have you here with us. We've got live team coverage for you this morning to get you the best information as you head out the door. We're going to start with Lisa Hidalgo. Lisa, not the best weather to kick off the week.
No, that graphic behind you guys, those are the current wind gusts. And the more colors we see on it, the worse it is. And we're seeing gusts over 45 to even 60 miles per hour. You're going to need two hands on the steering wheel this morning. 20s early on as far as our temperatures go. This afternoon, highs only in the 40s, and it's still going to be windy this afternoon. So this is going to be an all-day event for us. Calmer conditions tonight. Now, when you factor in those northwesterly winds, feels more like teens, even some single digits. So feels like just 13 right now in Denver. So cold, windy, blustery, and it will continue. We've got wind gusts expected over about 60 miles per hour on the plains today, Jason. We'll take a look at some of the alerts coming up in just a few minutes, and I'll show you where fire danger is extremely high through the afternoon.
Yeah, if it's trash day, we could have trash in your neighbor's yard here this morning. We do have some debris that's blowing around here around town and up to the north side of town. I've been watching the camera here at southbound I-25 right at the Thornton Parkway, and you see some of that traffic that's building for us this morning. And the trees, unfortunately, the camera flips the other way. You see the trees shaking all over the place. Take a look at the overall drive here this morning. Well, it's 15 minutes in from the north side. It's about 10 minutes on I-76. Same thing on 6th Avenue, about 10 minutes there. And we've had some small power outages here and there, including one that's still being worked on near Alameda and Monaco.
We continue our live team coverage with Denver 7's Megan Lopez. She's live in Cherry Hills Village.
So, Megan, we checked with you about 30 minutes ago. As the wind changed much, we could hear it on your microphone. Even your live shot was kind of to go in and out because of the wind.
Yeah, and that wind seems to be picking up and dying down at moments. What I can tell you guys is that it's about 29 degrees out here, but it feels a lot colder than that, and that's because the wind is just really, really cold. We're going to show you what it's doing to this flag, so you can see that the American flag here that was blowing in the wind about a half an hour ago has calmed down quite a bit. Still, it's something that's going to be picking up and going in and out throughout the day. Now, here's a look at the outage map that Xcel Energy is reporting. Right now, there are several different outages. Many are in the Denver area, but there were a couple that I had noticed near Fort Collins and Greeley just a few minutes ago. The National Weather Service is reporting that there's winds about 60 miles an hour out there. Most of those outages are small, only affecting about 50 or so customers. We don't have it confirmed yet that those outages are directly related to the wind, but we are keeping a close eye on it. I also wanted to give you a look at the different watches and warnings that the National Weather Service has issued. High winds are mostly expected in eastern Colorado. A winter weather advisory is in effect for parts of western Colorado. That pink color that you see in the middle, that is a red flag warning, and what that means is that there is critical fire conditions in the area. So it's definitely going to be a ponytail type of day for ladies. You're just going to want to make sure that everything that you kind of helps your body, just because, you know, the wind is going to be picking up throughout the morning, guys.
Yep, we can see it in the live shot again.
Little spotty,
it's trying to make our live shot go out. Fire crews have been busy overnight checking for some hot spots in those areas where we saw fire sparked over the weekend. And again, those high winds, dry conditions did not help.
They sure didn't. Take a look at this video from Air Tracker 7. 4 homes burned to the ground yesterday. This was southeast of Kiowa in the Forest Ridge fire. The good news is this fire is pretty much contained this morning.
Well, through midnight tonight, there's an open burning ban in Boulder County. The county sheriff's office announced that ban in anticipation of today's fire weather watch. So no open burning allowed in Boulder County right now.
If you have to head out the door, remember you can always take us with you. Just download the free Denver 7 app for the latest weather and outlooks, as well as the radars. People on the East Coast this morning are waking up to devastation, and right now they're bracing for another storm. This is video just in from Massachusetts. You can see the storm surge just flooded everything in the Boston area. More than 1 million people don't have power this morning.
It's the first day back for state lawmakers at the Capitol after they voted last week to kick out their fellow representative Steve Lebsack. It was a historic move since this hasn't happened in decades at the Capitol. Several women accused Lebsack of sexual harassment. The vote was 52-9 to kick him out. Lebsack says, though, he's innocent. Today, the Florida State Senate will consider a few landmark gun bills. They would create a program for arming teachers raise the minimum age for buying a rifle to 21, and pour millions of dollars into mental health programs in Florida. But the proposed legislation drew some anger from survivors of the Florida school shooting since lawmakers cut an amendment that included the ban on assault weapons. We'll keep tabs on what they do and let you know what happens.
Boulder's police chief says he would support a ban on assault rifles in the city. This comes after some city council members said last week the city should look into how a ban like that could work. But they did mention it could include assault rifles, high-capacity magazines, and bump stocks. There aren't any plans to discuss a potential ban this week, but we will let you know if that changes.
We have a news alert for you. Police in Colorado are looking for 2 inmates who escaped from a jail in the southern part of our state, but they could be anywhere at this hour. We have a look at the inmates, 31-year-old Kyle Paulney, 23-year-old Lawrence Gonzalez. They managed to escape from the Conejos County Jail. Investigators don't have any information about where they might be headed, but they did note that Paulney is from the Sanford area, right near the New Mexico border. So if you see these two, clearly call police.
Last week, we told you about a man convicted of child sex assault who had gotten out of prison on a technicality. Well, he's back behind bars now. On Friday, police arrested 46-year-old Michael McFadden in Colorado Springs for failing to register as a sex offender in a separate case. He had been serving more than 300 years for his crimes.
This morning, we're talking of the winners, the losers, the politics, all from the 90th Annual Academy Awards.
And many of the most talked about moments centered around the Time's Up movement, women and minorities, and immigration.
Nicole Brady is here with the conversation happening right now, in fact, on social media.
Yeah, first off, let's talk controversy. Overnight backlash emerging on social media against Kobe Bryant. The basketball player won an Oscar for an animated short film that he co-wrote.
Kobe, can we see that? How about that?
Now, a lot of people immediately drew attention to Bryant's rape accusation in 2003, which was right here in Eagle, Colorado. That criminal case was eventually dropped. As expected, Me Too and Time's Up were major themes of this year's Oscars. 3 Harvey Weinstein accusers talked about the movement on stage. Best Actress Frances McDormand called for more gender and racial diversity in movies.
The whole idea of women trending, no trending. African Americans trending, no trending. It changes now.
And perhaps the most dominant political theme of the night, immigration. Best Director winner Guillermo del Toro talked about erasing lines in the sand. Actress Lupita Nyong'o also delivered a message directly to the Dreamers. So inclusion was definitely a buzzword last night. And we want to know what you think. Do you think actors and filmmakers should stick to making movies? Or should stars use their platforms to speak out about issues in politics? You can comment on our Facebook and Twitter accounts. Lots of people talking about this morning. For sure, we'll share some of those comments with you.
Yeah, the Oscars really usually have a theme, you know, some kind of a social movement theme, and this year that was
definitely was it.
Yeah. All right, thanks, Nicole.
Well, Denver City Council is going over a lot at its meeting tonight, so we're going to give you some highlights here. One item concerns giving more money to the homeless for homeless programs. That would include more than $500,000 for an emergency shelter for men. Also adding a new $1 million contract with the Colorado Coalition for the Homeless. The council will also talk about adding mental health providers at the downtown Denver Detention Center and Jail, and putting $500,000 to replace a bridge along the Sanderson Gulch. We'll keep track of what happens with all these issues. We'll update you later online and on our app and on the later editions of Denver 7.
Lakewood City Council is considering creating a shopping cart reporting program. People have been leaving so many carts laying around. This way, if people can find them, the city can scan the cart, then return it to the store it belongs to through a registration system. We'll let you know what they decide. Longmont City Council will start talks about reinstating an affordable housing mandate. The Boulder Daily Camera reports the majority of council members have supported the idea of creating some sort of inclusionary housing program, one that would require developers of market price housing to build a certain number of units that would qualify as affordable housing. They'll start that meeting tonight.
New numbers this morning show the city of Aspen spent almost $500,000 in rent and homeowner association dues just last year. This is for 4 departments that have been displaced. The engineering and building departments, as well as the housing authority, police departments, they all rent space there in Aspen. So the city is going to look at consolidating some departments so you, the taxpayers, don't have to keep paying for all that rent. Parking at Keystone Resort has gotten so bad lately, nailing down an open spot can seem next to impossible on a busy day up there. So administrators at Keystone are looking at what they can do to help fix that problem. And they have a Twitter account dedicated to parking at the resort, sending out updates of how much space is left in those lots. They're also encouraging more people to use the buses that loop around the mountain town.
If you haven't made it out to the Dillon Ice Castles yet, this week is your last chance. They will close on Saturday because of the weather. We checked and there are still tickets available all this week starting at 6 p.m. except Tuesday since they're closed that day. Saturday is filling up pretty quickly. Some of the set times are already sold out.
Let's give you your daily check of the snow totals up in the high country. Take a look. Vail right now has a base of 46 inches, a base in 50. Breckenridge and Loveland 48 apiece, and Winter Park has 62 inches there at the base.
Picked up a little more this weekend. We'll likely see another probably 1 to 3 inches there today. The snow's really blowing around. We're in the mid-40s this afternoon, chilly this morning, and windy all day long. It's going to continue through the afternoon.
Yeah, there still are some chain of traction laws up that way. Here in town, obviously, we're dealing with those very strong winds and slowing down traffic a bit for us. We'll take a look at all of that coming up in just a minute.
For the first time since President Trump fired him, James Comey is going to give an exclusive interview.
Teachers in West Virginia are striking for the 8th day today after lawmakers failed to meet their demands over the weekend.
And Bill Cosby is back in court today as his lawyers try to stop more of his accusers from testifying against him in his retrial.
Time now is 5:45. If you're just joining us, here's a look at some of today's top headlines.
State lawmakers are considering a bill that would create a task force aimed at ending youth homelessness in our state.
This is the first day back to work for our legislature since they voted to expel Representative Steve Lebsock.
And the fire danger is high today. Got strong winds, very dry conditions, but Lisa's keeping an eye on the forecast.
Today, Bill Cosby will be back in a Pennsylvania courtroom as prosecutors try to convince a judge to allow 19 of his accusers to take the stand during his upcoming sex abuse retrial. The judge in his first trial only allowed one woman to take the stand. Cosby's lawyers have said they'll try to push back next month's retrial if more accusers are allowed to testify.
Today, teachers in West Virginia will strike for an 8th day. This is because the state legislature there didn't meet their demand for higher pay and better benefits over the weekend. All 55 counties in West Virginia announced they're going to be closed again today, keeping almost 277,000 students out of the classroom for more than a week now. Union leaders say the teachers will not get back to work until they get that 5% raise. At the state legislature there in West Virginia, a conference committee has been appointed to try to work out the differences between the state Senate and the House there. It's not known yet when the committee will meet.
While you were sleeping, a high-ranking South Korean delegation arrived in North Korea for historic talks about the North's nuclear weapons program. The South's national security director is leading the group. He'll see if he can ease tensions and encourage talks with the U.S. A South Korean delegation hasn't made this trip in 10 years. The team will come to the U.S. next to fill our leaders in.
For the first time since President Trump fired him, James Comey will sit down for an interview. It's an exclusive interview with ABC News' George Stephanopoulos. A new glimpse of the interview just came out overnight. Here's a look.
James Comey, for the first time since being fired by President Trump, is ready to talk. Nothing's off limits. Stephanopoulos.
Comey's controversial firing last May was initially blamed on his handling of the FBI's investigation into Hillary Clinton's private email server. But Mr. Trump later admitted he was thinking of, quote, this Russia thing when Comey was fired, referring to the Russia investigation, which Comey, of course, was overseeing at that time. Now, Comey served as the director of the FBI from 2013 to 2017. He had been involved in some of the most consequential cases and policies in recent history. ABC News interview will air on Sunday, April 15th, right here on Denver 7.
Now it's 5:47. If you haven't stepped outside yet, be prepared to be blown away.
Hold on to your hat.
All right, so one of our viewers commented on my Facebook page with this little GIF, and it says, it was so windy when I was walking to the gym that I got blown into the wine store.
Sounds like something that would happen to us.
Boy, that sounds like a good day.
Yeah, that's a great excuse. It is. It's that windy out there. Wind speeds right now are at around 40 to even 60 miles per hour, so it's a first alert action day. We've got temperatures this morning in the 20s to low 30s. Skies clearing out overnight, so we're in for a lot of sunshine today, but we're going to be in the mid-40s this afternoon. It's going to feel more like 30s, though, when you factor in those gusty winds. Wind gusts expected to be over about 60 miles per hour. In the mountains, mainly northern front Range Mountains, we could see an additional 1 to about 3 inches of snow. It does get calmer, but stays pretty cool tomorrow on Tuesday. Warmer weather by the end of the week. Here's a look at some of the current wind gusts. Rocky Flats topping the list at 75 miles per hour overnight. Boulder, you were close to 70 miles per hour, and there in Glen Haven, close to 60. Look at the airport. It's been really bumpy flying in and out. Haven't heard of anything major out at the airport, but do keep that in mind. Maybe a few extra Dramamine if you're taking off this morning. 45 miles per hour there at the airport recently. These are some of the current wind gusts, and it's going to stay pretty rough. Those northwesterly winds throughout the day today. When you look at our alerts, we have a winter weather advisory for those northern Front Range mountains through the early morning with an additional couple of inches of snow. Fire weather warning here in town, so it covers the entire metro area, most of southern and southeastern Colorado. And look at the high wind warning there in gold. It extends from Fort Collins, close to Boulder, up to the northeast along 76. And that I-70 drive, as you get just to the east of Denver, is going to be even windier as the day goes on. Here's a look at those winds, and you can see them coming in out of the northwest. It's going to push our temperatures into, it looks like, the 40s by the afternoon, but it's going to feel again more like 30s. Denver's highs about 5 to 7 degrees below normal. Overnight tonight, 6 o'clock, things will start to calm down. That's when most of our alerts expire across the plains, but it's still going to be breezy through the early evening, quite a bit calmer by 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. Chilly, too, will be in the 20s early Tuesday. Nice warm up this week. Now tomorrow, not so much. We'll be in the mid to upper 40s, still sunny and cool, but a good 10 degrees warmer by Wednesday. Good looking weather Thursday, Friday. In fact, we're back into the 60s both days. Very mild and kind of a repeat of what we saw this weekend. Saturday was unreal, highs in the 70s. By the weekend, this coming weekend, Jace, though, it will be cooler. We've got another cold front Friday into Saturday.
So yeah, it was really nice. Had some sunburns on some little girls over the weekend. Have a good drive going on right now across Highway 36, I-25. That's just starting to get a little bit busy. Same thing on I-76, and that commute time on 270. I think it's closer, a little bit closer to 10 minutes. As you take a look at I-76 right now, you see some of that increased traffic on that westbound side. Very typical for us. And then the split for the folks going into Commerce City, also getting a little bit busier for us. The rest of the drive doesn't look too bad. Starting to see a little bit more traffic on Highway 36, but overall the commute times are pretty quiet, except for the winds, which are obviously really strong. I've seen the camera there at the overlook bouncing up and down quite a bit. Same thing across parts of C470 and 285, even though commute time right now is about 15 minutes. Starting to see some of those winds affect some of the trucks getting blown out of some lanes up that way this morning.
Well, whether you realize it or not, listening devices are all around us. They're in our pockets, they're in our cars, they're in our houses.
Listening. Denver 7's Connor Wiss spoke to a computer science professor. And Connor, should we be worried about all the access technology has to our personal lives?
Well, the answer is yes and no. On one hand, you have an added convenience, being able to ask your phone to call or text someone. I always like that. And getting devices to turn lights on and off in your house. On the other hand, you can potentially risk your security. If someone breaks into your devices or accounts, technology experts say they potentially have the ability to hack or record you. But something important to keep in mind is with most of these devices, they are listening for a keyword or phrase, and their function is to be able to answer your questions or keep up with your requests.
That data is being kept. I don't think it's being kept in, in the raw form where they're recording all of our conversations and things like that. But I definitely think that they are keeping metadata about it so that they can improve their products.
You might say, well, that means these devices are always listening. And if the microphone is turned on, then yes, and you can disable that function. I wanted to zoom in look of this. So this is the Amazon Echo device, and this little button right here, that's going to turn off those functions in your settings.
A lot of people who won't get those devices because of that.
I just say there's nothing going on in my life that is cool that anybody would want to hear it.
You screaming at your dog.
Yeah, exactly.
Not again on the carpet. All right, there's a special blood drive going on today for a little boy who is battling cancer.
And Red Gerard is back in Colorado after his Olympic tour. It is now 5:53. We're back in just a minute.
It's just about 6 minutes before 6 o'clock. Want to let you know about a construction project that is going a little bit longer than expected along the 23rd Avenue, just off of York, all the way to about the entrance where they have that little maintenance facility there at City Park at the golf course. This remains closed down, so if you want to access the zoo, you're going to have to do it from the Colorado Boulevard side. That section between the zoo and Colorado Boulevard is open. It's coming in from York that is closed. You can also use 26 just on the north side of the golf course to get around that closure. They're expecting to get at least one lane open. Some sometime by tomorrow morning.
Well, Red Gerard is back in Colorado. Here is a photo of the Olympic gold medalist touching down at DIA last night. People in his hometown of Silverthorne have been patiently waiting for him to get back from South Korea and all of his press tours. The town even jokingly changed its name to Goldthorne to celebrate the snowboarder's big medal wins. Yes, Silverthorne.
Silverthorne. Well, just make sure you remember it. Yeah.